Welcome everyone to Around the ACL. It's Michelle Thompson here with Trey Ryder, and Anthony is back. Welcome, Anthony, back to the show. We missed you.
Hey, Bernie, thanks for holding it down for me, man. Bernie filled in real nice. I think I'm a little nervous for my job here. He did really well.
He said he was going to ruin the show, and he didn't. It was like he brought some good level analysis. I was like, Bernie, I was expecting this show to go off the rails.
Yeah,
it was completely on.
It wasn't a good start when he said, "So do you guys like really adhere to these times, like on the Rana show?" I was like, "Yes."
There we go.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Borderline's like run of show. Yeah, we just talk until we're like, oh crap, we gotta end the show. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, we got 30 seconds left. How'd this happen? Oh no. All right, we're done making fun of you guys. We're gonna move on to a fun weekend of cornhole coming up. We've got our pro shootout number 2 and open number 10. So that's going to be in Topeka, Kansas this coming weekend. Looking forward to a shootout that's going to play all the way through. You know, the last one we played it in Myrtle Beach, and then the finals were in Arizona. So interesting to see how that's all going to go. But it should be a fun event. That is going to be on ESPN2 on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So definitely get ready to watch that. And then Trey, are we having people can come and watch live as well?
Yeah,
in the audience?
Open to the public to come and watch that broadcast. It'll be with the open there and everybody there for the open. I think it's gonna be a fun time. Everybody will be excited to be there.
Cool. If you're in Topeka area, come check out the broadcast live. It's not something you will be disappointed you went to. It's super fun. All right, Trey, what are we thinking? Who are you looking at in this first or the second pro shootout?
Yeah, well, first things first. This will be the first ever televised ACL event that I am not even in attendance of. So
that's not allowed. I find comfort with you in the stands heckling me, Trey. I have found comfort in that.
I know. I am not sure what to do with myself right now.
Wow.
Not okay.
I'm like reeling a little bit inside. So I just need to get that out there that it's a very stressful time right now that I'm dealing with this.
You're just going to be watching from home. That's so
live
bizarre.
On TV. That's going to be weird.
Right. So I've not been on broadcast before because you've obviously done a bunch, Anthony, but every single time it's either been a USA Cornhole event that I didn't go to or I've been there, right? I've watched or like creeped over your shoulder while you're talking. Like I've just been around, and now this one I'm not going to be there at all.
You know what?
So,
now that you say that, I think this is the first time Nick won't be at one of my broadcasts too.
Wow.
This is the first time he'll be watching broadcasts from home with me on it.
The kids are running loose. We've let the kids running loose.
What does this mean?
Just absolutely just crazy to think about. So that's going to be definitely a change for me. I got a content team going and I'm not going. It's like weird.
Wow.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, but overall, so once I get that out of the way, I think this weekend is going to be, I mean, look, I think a lot of eyes are just going to, plain and simple, going to be on Justin Burton Jr. I mean, can he keep doing it, right? How many times do we see someone in this position come out, win a huge event, and then they just kind of fade, right? Last year was Matthew Creekiller. Incredible performance. Wins the national, wins the singles at the second Cornhole Mania. And then we don't see him for the rest of the year. We saw him on one broadcast in doubles, but we didn't see any form of that same level of dominance. Then after that, before that, we had Steven Bernasset, right? And he in singles dominated. He did win a shootout in doubles, but aside from that, we just didn't see the sustained success. Both of those players end up finishing outside the top 10 respectively at the end of the season. So it was a fall off from what we saw. I don't know if we can say the same about Burton Jr. To me, when I watch Burton Jr. play, I get a little bit better of a feel of this guy feels a little bit more consistent, right? This guy feels like someone that has the staying power, right? And for someone to win singles and doubles at a national, I mean, if you look at the names that have accomplished that, it's only, Mark Richards, Jamie Graham, Matt Guy. I mean, that's it. right? And if you're in that company, that certainly, you would argue, separates yourself from everybody else. So a lot of my eyes are going to be on him. But there's a number of others. I'm actually going to steal the thunder a little bit from Anthony here. I'm really interested in watching Joe Niestedt. If the season ended right now, right this second, and you said, Trey, fill out an MVP ballot, I think I may have Joe Niestedt at number 2. I mean, obviously, Justin Burton Jr., he wins both. We're talking about way too early MVP rankings, but he's second in doubles and he's 5th in singles. Nobody else has that level of resume, right? Not a Kyle Malone, not even a Devin Harbaugh. Devin Harbaugh's 45th in doubles. I mean, so overall, I'm saying, I think Joe Niestedt is shaping up to have not a good season, not a great season, but an elite level season. So I'm excited to watch him, especially coming off this past weekend winning a state championship in doubles. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So a lot of eyes on him there. Obviously, you're looking at your big hitter names, your Mark Richards, your Matt Guy, your Jamie Grahams. Jamie Graham in particular, again, finishes 45th in singles. What? Jamie Graham, Matt Guy, outside the top 30 in doubles. Yep. What is going on here? Okay. I'm really interested to see how Jamie Graham bounces back, knowing that he did not live up to the expectation that we had for him. Or are we just going to see this roller coaster of Jamie Graham's career? 2020, we're up here. 2021, we're down here. 2022, we're up here. Is 2023 going to be one of those weird down years that we have to talk about next season, him bouncing back to have an elite level year? I think it's too early to go that far, but it's just something that I'm looking at. Then over on the women's side, really, it's all right. I love these now, and for a different reason, right? I love the nationals because we get to see which female is going to lead the field. And a lot of the times, it's how far does Cheyenne Renner go? Now she's a top 10 player in the world based on her finish at the kickoff battle. But now, since Cheyenne has won that women's singles, this becomes who's going to be the woman to stand out when Cheyenne isn't in the picture, right? That's a really interesting storyline to me. So when I look at this list, I really think it's completely up for grabs, right? One name that sticks out in particular for me has got to be Cameron Belvin. She won in Kansas last year, not in the same building, but won in the region. It was at one of the last pro shootouts of the season. She stole a win there. But how good has Yeti Irwan been, right? Yeti Irwan been an elite level player, one of the best in the world. But Rosie Streaker and Sam Finley are the 13th ranked doubles team in the world right now. Okay. That I believe I said this, and I meant to go back and look, and I never did, but I think I said last week, I think it's the highest ranked all female doubles team that we've ever had in the history of the pro division. And that is special. Both Sam and Rosie last, at the national were on fire, and they have both also dominated this shootout series in the past. Both of them multiple shootout, actually one shootout win for Rosie, but she made the finals so many in 2021. Sam Finley obviously making it to the finals in back-to-back seasons as the women's singles shootout. So I'm really interested in particular to watch the women's singles shootout because I think it has a lot of those storylines that keep me coming back. But overall, I think it's going to be a really cool weekend.
Absolutely. Anthony, what are your thoughts? Who are you looking at?
Yeah, so first I kind of went and said, all right, who had success at shootout number 1? So I kind of dug into that a little bit, and because I kind of want to look at the current season. We have a history there of players that have been successful year after year, but kind of looking at who really did well out in Myrtle Beach at that shootout number 1. And I was a bit surprised. Almost none of the top 5 players in all the brackets are in the field. You've got like a Byron Sisson, who was 1 win away from making a bracket or winning a bracket. Travis Purser won his bracket. He was 1 win away from TV. I want to say it was Jamie Graham that got him. He made a deep run. I don't see him on the list. Guys like Mike Ferreira, Jeremiah Hector, who really showed out a little bit at nationals for me, did really well in the blind draw. He was 3rd in his bracket. He's not there. Costanza, Ryan Hart. I mean, and what's cool about all these names, and we're going to see this trend, I think, as we go along, you look at who were the top 3 in each bracket, you might not even recognize some of these names. I mean, a lot of these players, these top 10, top 20 players, did not make it very deep at shootout number 1. It was a list of new names for us. Travis Grayson took third in his bracket. A Trey Baker was in the top 5 in his bracket. So I looked at that first. They're not coming. So that was kind of just a point I wanted to mention. Was kind of interesting to me. But you mentioned a lot of the ones. Some of the ones you didn't mention, Trey. There, Derek Holland, who we see as just a trending up player right now. A player to watch for me, Derek Holland in the shootout format. I think he can come out and win the whole thing. So have close eyes on him. I mentioned Jeremy Frazier. Philip Lopez, this guy is due. I think he is so due for success in singles. He continues to be that guy that is just one win away from TV or one win away from making a bracket final. Maybe this is it. He's going to be in the field, so got a close eye on Philip Lopez. Alan Rawls, this guy deserves to be talked about over and over again. Continues to kind of prove definitely me wrong. I slept on him even after he did really well, like twice. Yeah. So I'm not going to sleep on him anymore. And maybe it was more from a technical perspective. I just couldn't understand how he was so successful with the type of bag he throws. But he really does control the speed of this odd rotating angled bag. He really does a really good job with that. The wheel. Yeah, it's unique. You just don't see that a lot.
Alex calls it the saw blade.
The saw blade. That's what it was. Yes.
Yes.
He said if he's not throwing, he said if he's not throwing the saw blade, it's not good for him.
Yeah. If his bag starts to look good, that's when he's beatable, right?
Yeah. No doubt. But yeah, so I think what's going to make him successful in a shootout format is his ability to control speed. I think one of the best shots that Alan Rawls has that we're not talking about is, when we talk about better there than in, he does a really good job at putting a bag in the right position on the hole without going in, preventing an opponent's cleanup or any kind of, fourth bag that's going to really do some damage. He does so good at that. Dylan Turpin, this dude. Dylan Turpin, just like Alan, I've been sleeping on him. I knew Dylan has been an elite level guy, but he's also one of those guys that's, one win away from broadcast. He had it last year. He won his bracket in singles, but he had to win one play-in game to make TV. Didn't win it. This year in doubles, he had to win one game to get on TV. He didn't win it. So it's kind of a reverse of last year, how singles and doubles played out. Unfortunate for him, but this dude can come out and have a lot of success in the singles. I'm going to be watching him really, really closely. And the last one I wanted to mention, just in the interest of time, because I could talk about this a lot, Tubby Cobb. Tubby Cobb, another player that if you were walking around the building at national number 1 and you were like, who looks really good right now in the bracket that we didn't expect to look good, Tubby Cobb is one of those players. I think he's outplaying all of the Cobb brothers right now. If you talk to the Cobb brothers, they're going to say the same thing. Tubby Cobb is balling right now. I like him in singles as well, Meesh. And those guys are not the players that you're going to typically see on a list. I think all of them can do some work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only one that I didn't hear either one of you mention that I have my eyes on is Nico Morales. I think the way he played at the first national, I got to watch or call a lot of his games. His airmail is unconscious. I think that he's playing really, really well. And also you mentioned Joe Neested. Joe Neested was just, I can't remember, like 1 or 2 games from making the broadcast in both singles and doubles. He was super close. So definitely am going to follow up what you were saying there, Trey. We have some news around the league, you guys. We have a list.
Yeah, you want to take a nap real quick while she reads through all this, Anthony? You can go back. I'll go back and grab a drink, and then we'll come back.
Buckle up. We had quite a few events over the weekend that I want to get into, but before we talk about those, we've also had quite a bit of news around partner changes. We saw that Andrew Guy is now pairing up with Chad Hunt. Nico Morales is now pairing up with Devin Harbaugh. And that leaves Derek King, Tom Gustafson, Cameron Presley, and Brian Schramm all looking for partners. So is that going to be more partner breakups to pair with these people? Are these people just going to pair up with each other? Like this is a really interesting thing. And I'm definitely sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to see what happens here. Because very, very surprising, I would say.
Yeah. I think we just casually said that Devin Harbaugh is no longer playing with Derek King. This is huge.
I know.
This is huge, guys. It's going to shake up the top 10 list.
Yep.
I think it creates some type of a domino effect downstream where, a team breaks up, another team breaks up. Then you have people out there hustling to find a new partner. And this is the time to do it. You're coming off a national number 1. Let's keep in mind, everybody gets to drop their worst national. So these teams have the ability to find a new partner and still find themselves in the rankings at the end at a shot at a world championship. It's going to be tough because now you're going to be that last seed in the bracket. So can Devin Harbaugh and Nico Morellis come in and steal the number 1 seed at Nationals number 2? Hell yes, they can.
Yeah, they can.
That's what makes this even more interesting is it could really shake up the seeding going, and someone's going to pull an insane team, a top 10 team, in my opinion, in the first round, Trey. What do you think about that shaking up national number 2 bracket?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody assumes that it's going to be the team who they play that loses. But what happens if it's not? What happens if Harbaugh and Morellis lose? Yeah. I mean, does it become – I don't know. I think I'm always the guy that says the grass is always greener, right?
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times you don't fully comprehend all the changes that you're going to make. I think – maybe a little bit both premature for me, but I get why, because of the point that you made, Anthony. The point that you made of, look, if you're going to make the decision, you have to make it now, because if you wait until after that second national, you're no longer even eligible at the World Championships for that end of season payouts, like all those standing payouts. You're not going to max out points. You're guaranteed at Worlds to have a bad seed. Yep. At least doing it now, you're forcing that. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly interesting. On paper, it's a huge win for both Nico and for Devin because they're pairing up with players that are so hot right now. Now, the interesting thing that they do is I haven't really been keeping up with what Nico is throwing as far as bags go, but can they find a middle ground on bags to really let Devin be Devin? Because if there's either one of those two, you want to make them throw the way they keep throwing. You want to let Devin keep throwing like Devin can throw. So overall, yeah, a little interesting. And I'm interested to see if there is a domino effect, like you said, Michelle.
Yeah, that's the key. You brought up the bag choice. And here's the good news. Devin Harbaugh showed he can throw anything and still win on a broadcast level. How he had to go through those bag changes on the last TV broadcast is crazy. And I think we overlook what the impact is of just switching a bag. I mean, that little bit of feeling in your hand is huge. Now, someone like Devin Harbaugh, he's an elite level guy. Maybe it's the difference between 1 point and 2 point at the end of a game, which you need on a TV broadcast is going to be close. But Nico Morellis is throwing a slower style bag. He's going to probably throw a four speed on the slow side. So he plays a speed control game. That's good news. I think that's good news for that team. But we do have to keep in mind, this isn't their go-to bag. If you were saying I'm taking Nico Morellis in the bag he throws and Devin Harbaugh in the bag he throws and you throw them together, that's a top 5 team. But we're not doing that. Devin. So can they still be a top 8 team or a top 10 team? I think they can.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we had several state championships, starting off with Virginia State Championship with singles winner Devin Harbaugh. You guys, it's Monday. It's a struggle right now. Singles, Devin Harbaugh. Doubles, Michael Lucas Jr. and Michael Dingus. Michigan State Championship singles winner Jaden Ellis. Doubles went to Joe Neested and Jeremy Schermerhorn. South Carolina State Championship singles, Jordan Kimbrell, and doubles, Jordan Kimbrell and Angel Camarena. Nevada State Championship singles, Asher Plummer. Doubles, McGuire Shepard and Michael Schroeder. North Dakota State Championship singles, Connor Heiser, and doubles, Corey and Connor Heiser. And Minnesota State Championship singles, Eddie Wenker, and doubles, Hunter Thorson and Corey Warner. Those are all your winners. What? Did you catch any of that? I don't know.
Yeah, that was no, that was great. That was great. I think there's a lot of hidden messaging in a lot of these different wins, right? A lot of this will blow over. I think there's a lot of storylines here. Boring. Devin Harbaugh wins again. I don't care anymore. Okay, he just wins everything. Okay,
thanks a lot, Devin.
But doubles, Michael Dingus Jr. and Michael Lucas saying, "Hey,
Let's go.
We're still really bleeping good." Okay, that's what they're saying there. So, Now, the other one that I want to talk about, or that I wanted to bring up, that I found super interesting, Jordan Kimbrell, okay? He could not make the first national because of a wedding. So he has to come into the second event as someone a bottom seed, both in singles, but also in doubles alongside Blaine Rozier. So I say all that to say it is, it's going to be interesting to see Jordan Kimbrell throwing really well right now. I mean, to be a South Carolina state champion, both in singles and in doubles, that's a big feat. Carolina Conference is not easy to go through, but he absolutely torched it down. And I'm just saying, I think we got to pay attention to the fact that Jordan Kimbrell has an opportunity here to make a big splash. And you talk about seeds that nobody wants to play out of the gate. I don't think that 1 seed's going to be too happy, or that 2 seed or that 3 seed's going to be very happy to be playing Jordan Kimbrell at the second national of the year.
True. That's a good point. Anthony, any thoughts?
Yeah, my thought is Virginia State, you got Devin Harbaugh, who's Devin Harbaugh, goes out and wins singles. Whoever his partner is, I don't know who his partner was, that's on you, bro. I mean, obvious, right? How do you pull Devin Harbaugh and not win double? So, you have to look at that and go, Devin Harbaugh's partner blew that one. I mean, it's just, this is what it is. Michael Lucas Jr. and Dingus, big fans. I'm so excited to see these guys win. And I cannot wait for them to have that TV broadcast experience. This year would be awesome. But another team that just seems to always be right out of there. Michigan State. Unless Joe Niestad and Jeremy Schermerhorn had some early exit and didn't play singles, congratulations, Jaden Ellis, for winning the singles with that caliber of players in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's a hell of a player as well. So, but to pull a win out going through a Niestad and a Schermerhorn in the field, big win for Jaden Ellis.
Absolutely.
I will say the partner for.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know you're
Harbaugh.
gonna do it. You're gonna do it. Who is it?
James Baldwin.
Oh, my man, Baldwin. Oh man.
No.
They came in third. They only lost to Ryan Smith and Berkeley Pair, and then Michael Lucas Jr. and Michael Dingus.
Hey,
Okay.
Harbaugh could have been off. He could have thrown a 10-5 instead of an 11-2.
Backpedal.
Devin Harbaugh, he only threw a 9.62 in that tournament.
Oh, hey, okay.
Abysmal performance by Harbaugh standards. A 9.62. What was he, asleep?
Unacceptable. All right, moving on to open number 10. We obviously have our pros that are going to be there for the shootout, but now we have mixed in our amateur players. So, Trey, who are you looking at?
Yeah, kind of a similar feel of, okay, now this is the first event playing to 21 after the national. So I'm looking for a few players to see if they can bounce back and how they can readjust, right? Granted, Jamie Graham is going there to play in the shootout. He's someone that you want to look at when it talks about going to a shootout. But I think more importantly, Jamie Graham has a chance to get back into playing to play to 21 format, for him to get back into groove and him to right the ship as he goes into the next national, right? His rankings right now, not loving this, okay? And not loving how things are coming out. And I think that's true for a lot of players. If you go through the rankings right now, I think a lot of people would be surprised where people are ranked. Like, here's a couple different examples of people that want to right the ship. Ryan Windsor, 97th in standings right now. 97th. Duncan Clemmer, 97. Tyler Poitras, 93. Michael Dingus, 89. Josh Holland, 85. Okay. James Baldwin, 101. Noah Wooten, 101. Ryan Wiedenfeld, 101. What? I mean, you go through some of the Jimmy McGuffin, 113. Eric Zockline, 173. Noah Almanza, 209th. Yeah. What in the world happened at national number 1? What happened? Okay. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It makes zero sense. Okay. So yeah, all those names that I just said, that's who I'm watching at this open, because I get it. It's first national of the year, but all the people that I listed aren't necessarily all rookies. There's a couple rookies in there that you would argue, okay, I expected a little bit better out of, but like, especially the Noah Almanza at 209, the guy was a top 8 player last year. I mean, he made the Pro Invitational. It means he had to be in the top 8. To me, it just blows my mind. I was just completely shocked to see a lot of these players. So at least on the singles sides, that's a lot of who I'm watching. There's some amateur names in there that I'm also watching because we're getting close to the point in the season where we really have to start thinking about who's going to be in that rookie class for next season, right? I think it's got to be headlined by Caden Allen. And Caden Allen is on the registration list. He will be in Topeka, Kansas. So he's already got an open singles win this season. Can he maybe steal another one? Can he have another strong finish? I'm really excited to see because I think he has the potential to be in that Ryan Wiedenfeld, Fisher Hamilton type of range where if he comes in, you expect him to immediately contribute at a high level, and he'll have lofty expectations there. Like I said, I think there's a number of different names that stick out to me, but it's those in particular that I'm expecting to have deep runs here. Or if I don't expect to have deep runs, they got to have a bounce back in comparison to what we just saw at national number 1.
Absolutely. Anthony, who are you looking at?
Yeah, the Noah Almanza thing. So you got to be careful if anyone's been deep into a tournament or in a tournament and you're feeling good and someone comes up to you and you're just throwing trash and you're like, 0-2, and someone comes up and goes, "How you throwing?" The last thing you want to do is entertain that type of a question because you're already pissed. So I'm really careful about how I ask people how they're doing because this is the big show. This is it. No one wants to train coming into a national and then have someone coming up ask. I thought I was safe going up to Noah Almanza at the beginning of the tournament. He didn't look too mad. We'd only 2 games in. I said, "How you throwing, man?" His response, 0-2. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, no, you didn't. You just caught Noah Almanza. So I was like, yeah, you don't want to talk to me. I'll talk to you later. I just walked away. Because the dude is he just went 0-2. He doesn't want to explain to me why he's 0-2. But yeah, that was a shocker for Almanza, a top guy, to go 0-2. But yeah, in this field, you mentioned Caden Allen. That guy's always going to be on our watch list, right? At an open, he just has this knack for winning. I don't know what his streak is or what his record is, but it was something crazy, like winning every single bracket he'd been in for a number of opens. What about Ben Brown, Trey? This is a guy who somehow wins brackets with an 8 PPR, and then I've been seeing some numbers recently with him in like high 10s. So that swing is just really high for me. I don't know what's going on there, but what are your thoughts on a Ben Brown in an open format?
Did you see what I tweeted out about his difference in PPR in singles and doubles? So this is Ben Brown's difference between his singles PPR at the first national and his doubles PPR. His singles PPR at the first national, 7.96. His doubles, 10.39. How does that make any what?
That makes no sense.
This dude isn't real. He's a figment of our imagination.
And what's crazy is he could take a 7-9 and force his opponent to throw a 6-9. So somehow he's able to keep his opponent below him. He has just this insane dirty style game, but definitely got an eye out for him because he is out there winning brackets. He is showing that he can compete at an elite level. He's just doing it oddly. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for him. Some of the West Coast guys, again, Hadley, Zaft. I'm looking for these guys to show up. Some of the local guys. I feel like we're in Kansas. You got an Alex Hicks who had some insane record locally. He has a lot of success locally. I want to say it was an Ethan Walker who actually broke that streak of it was in the teens, some teens of regionals and conferences in a row that Alex Hicks wasn't missing. All of them are in the field, so I'm going to be keeping a close eye on them. Cheyenne Bubenheim, she absolutely slayed it at national number 1. Now coming into this open pretty hot. Hey, watch out for Cheyenne to just win the whole thing in an open format, male and female. She's throwing really, really good right now and settled, I think, on, she played a little bit with the carpet bag, One shootout one with the carpet bag. However, she was running him against Rosie Streaker, but she's settling on what she's going to be doing, I think, for this season. She's going to be tough. Keeping an eye out for him. Again, we got Sammy Soto out there. He ghosted us once. I'm keeping an eye on him. I mean, this is a guy that is, I think, Caden Allen equivalent in the amateur field. Really looking out for what he can do. Caleb Franklin and Dylan Turpin, both in singles and as a doubles partnership. These boys, if you didn't follow them at the National, they absolutely slayed it. Airmail was unbelievable. Calling the games, Meesh, on that court one, I felt like every time I said Turpin going up, bang, he just hit it. He hit it every single time. His airmail was nasty in the ability to push and clean up and run bags with a carpet-style bag. Those boys are going to be tough as a partnership. Alan Rawls and Chris Kingsbury, again, win it. I mean, now we're talking about these guys not just making deep runs. I think we're talking about them winning brackets, winning opens, winning nationals. Whether it's a hot take or not, they're still in the discussion. Super, super good there. Kind of just working my way down the list here a little bit more. Shibner. I got another close eye on this guy. Again, I think another guy that could kind of sneak in there and show that he's a presence to deal with. Keeping an eye on him. But anything that you're seeing in that list there, Meesh?
I was just wondering why, Justin Burton Jr. wouldn't be playing with Logan Chamberlain.
Yes.
It's always strange to me, especially coming off of, this may have been decided a while back. But that one kind of stuck out to me. Like, I wonder what was the thought behind that, I guess. Noah Almanza, obviously great teammate for Logan, and Felix Vargas, great teammate for Justin Burton Jr., but always just wondering about these choices sometimes.
Yeah, watch out for Vargas and Burton Jr. I wouldn't sleep on those guys. Vargas isn't really on the national radar yet as a player, but those two could be tough. I don't know what they're going to do from a bag perspective, but their individual singles games are nasty. They could be a tough partnership.
And then Hunter Thorne and Jordan Power. Thought that was an interesting pairing as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I was, I'm assuming these teams signed up a little bit further in advance in the most recent national, but how do you think Vargas feels now? Like, is Vargas excited or is he like absolutely like going crazy in his head? Like, oh my gosh, I just got this guy and now we have to play well. And then if this doesn't go well, if not, Anthony's going to say what he just did about Devin Harbaugh. It was definitely his partner.
Exactly. That's on you, Vargas. That is on you.
Looking at the stats.
Hey, you're about to get the Anthony facts if you don't deliver.
Facts.
That's a lot of pressure. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, what about just looking at, since you brought it up, just mixed up Braden Wilson and Caleb Batson? What do you think about that one, Meesh? Because I know you're a fan of the junior division.
Yeah, those are always going to be entertaining, I think. And that's my favorite kind of cornhole to watch. So I'm looking forward to that coming on the stream for sure. And Alec Ryan and Caden Allen, I was trying to, did they play together before? I feel like maybe they did. Paired up on an open in the past. I'm trying to remember. Caden Allen's kind of paired up with quite a few now.
Yeah, he has teamed up a lot of people. I think this might be the first.
Okay.
This is the first.
Yeah.
Obviously, that will be a tough team as well. All right, we also have our SuperHole coming up this weekend. We're going to have Lori Duell and Dion Dawkins versus Miranda Coy and Jordan Poyer. And then we have Tubby Cobb and Tim Settle Jr. versus Tice Cobb and Tyler,
Takovich.
Thank you. These are all Buffalo Bills players coming out to play in our SuperHole in Kansas. Do we know anything about whether or not these players have boards or have played?
Yeah, so we do, and they have boards in the clubhouse. So and in the locker room. So they play on a consistent basis. So this is really a group of guys that know how to play. I know some are better than others. But
they know how to play, Trey, but who's leading? It's like blind leading the blind, right? Like who's like, this is a good
Dion
throw.
last year threw pretty well, right?
Okay.
If you remember last year, he had the skills. Honestly, remember last year we were talking about how insane it was that Mike the Situation came out of nowhere and he started draining everything. Yeah. Dion was the better one kind of leading up to that. So it'd be great to have Dion back, and Yeah, like I said, this year we're kind of going for more themes for every single one. So like reached out to some Kansas City players and nobody was really interested in playing. So it's like, well, we have these Bills that really want to play. You also have that Kansas City Chief Buffalo Bills rivalry, which I think adds a layer to this, which is really cool. So you have plenty of the Buffalo Bills. You actually have some local groups of Bills Mafia going to be coming out to the event, so that's going to be really fun. So a lot of the Bills players, I think it's going to be fun to watch. And then I think also the dynamic of Lori versus Miranda and Tubby versus Tice is one that's really cool as well. They'll get a chance to see them go head to head on the broadcast. So as we go throughout the rest of the season, there's going to be a couple different really cool themed events, just teasing a little bit, but Miami is going to have very much an influencer Miami feel to it. The one in Mesa is going to have an Olympian theme. So there's a lot of different themes coming out. That's going to be a lot of fun as we go throughout the SuperHole season. But yeah, for this one, it wouldn't surprise me if Dion wins again. But from what I've heard, some of the guys that either Settle or Matakovich, both of them are pretty darn good going up against Tubby and Tice, having them as a partner. As good as Tubby's been throwing recently, you might want to pay attention.
Okay. Interesting. Anthony, you know anything about these guys?
We're going to learn what they have to bring, I think, live when we get down there, see a few pitches. But I think the storyline that you mentioned is the pro side. That's really exciting is, normally the pros kind of check that real serious competitive nature at the door in these SuperHoles. They have some fun with it. They're going to take some shots they don't normally take. But I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Lori Dool, if you don't know, Lori Dool, Miranda Coy, best friends, roommates, both insanely competitive. I don't know if there's more competitive females out there. Maybe a Bubenheim is pretty competitive, but just what they show from body language, very, very competitive. I think they're going to go at each other. They're going to want to win that one just from talks back at the house. And then you got the brothers, Tubby Cobb and Tice Cobb. And, there's no filter between these brothers. They just let it rip. They don't care. There's no hurt feelings in that house. So I think that'll be kind of fun getting those groups on the broadcast. So I think the storyline is really going to be the pros going against the pros and how that dynamic works out.
Yeah, I do wonder if we see less of the riskier shots just because of pure ego, just wanting to win for glory, just to be able to gloat about it at home. That might come into play here for sure.
Yeah, and then, of course, whoever wins this is going to get that automatic ticket to play in the SuperHole Championship at the World Championships. Now, being all football players, they may or may not be able to make it, but, it'll be, and still to be seen if, Justin Turner is going to be able to make the trip alongside Double D, Damon Dennis. So it's, but, there's some other cool stuff. There may or may not be a banner hanging in this broadcast. So a little bit of a tease from the banner hanging. How teams, when they win a championship, the next season they hang a banner. Well,
yes,
might be a similar banner hanging for this broadcast for last year. So it'll be fun.
Little incentive. It's time for buy or sell now. I'll read you guys some lines and you let me know if you buy or sell. The first one, which we kind of talked about earlier, Devin Harbaugh and Nico Morales are a top 5 team.
I gotta sell. I just, so few times does a super team come together, and I don't even know if I want to label them a super team just yet, right? So few times does a team come together like that and immediately work. Very rarely happens. There's something to be said about chemistry. There's something to be said about playing with the same bags. There's something to be said. Like Anthony said, it may be the difference between 1 or 2 points, but 1 or 2 points in a bracket means a loss or a win. And it could be the difference between 17th place and first place, right? I mean, it just comes down to it. So overall, I think they are capable of getting there, but based on the road they have ahead of them, I got to sell.
Anthony?
Yeah, I was watching really closely yesterday. So if you didn't see it on 27 Feet it broke live last night, about a 30 minutes. If you want to see that interview, check it out. Because I was watching closely at how they were responding to the questions, what kind of excitement level they were having between the bag choice decision was a big conversation. So I was paying a lot of attention to that. I have to agree with Trey on this one. Do I think they're a top 10 team? I am prepared to drop these guys in my top 10 right now. Top 5 for the reasons that Trey was given. That is important stuff. And it could come down to a point or two, whether it's chemistry, whether it's switching a bag. And at this level, you're going to need that point or two at the end. I mean, look what happened with Devin Harbaugh and Gore on the broadcast. 20. He's sitting on 20. He's got to hit an airmail to win it. That bag just doesn't feel right. You might miss that airmail. It's super important. So I'm going to sell as well, Meesh. But if we're talking top 10, they're in my list.
You're in. Okay.
Yeah, but the good news for them is top 10 would be a huge improvement based on where both of them are ranked right now in doubles.
Exactly.
So,
and nothing to be mad at. The Las Vegas High Rollers, Virginia Cutters, and Pennsylvania Ringers should shake up their rosters.
Yeah, all 3 teams without a win. And you know what's funny is I watched the High Rollers play head-to-head against the Cali Slingers, who went 3-1. And when I watched it, if you had told me the High Rollers went 0-3, I would have been surprised. I would have said, wow, that doesn't really fit what I saw, because it felt like a very even match. I'm less likely to go after the High Rollers on that regard. The Cutters missed one of their franchise players in James Washington. He wasn't even there. Okay, so it's really hard to take away a top 3 player on your roster and be able to say that. So maybe for the first 2, I would shake it up, or I would not shake it up. I'd say see if you can build some momentum in the second one. But I'd say yes to the Ringers. When I see Justin Burton Jr. and Devin Harbaugh playing together and losing, that's something's wrong there. We're not wasting all of our talent into one game, and we can't afford to lose it. Spread out the talent a little bit more. See if it brings a couple more depth wins, and see if you can build some momentum into the next event, because that next national in Erie, Pennsylvania is technically a home game for the Ringers. So you want to make sure you're playing your best on the big stage. So I guess it's a modified buy-sell, because I had different answers for all 3. So I'll say half buy.
Okay. Anthony?
Yeah, I buy on all of them. And really, I buy on every single team. I mean, we learned a lot coming out of Nationals #1. Teams are going to be, we talked bag chemistry, player chemistry. I think everybody should be looking to the next team and going, hey, I can improve this. They're down my list. It might be like, the bottom of the last team that they put together. But, hey, I might be able to build a little bit more bad chemistry here. I got a slick guy. You need a slick guy. I want a stick guy. Let's swap, because we think we're going to win that trade just on chemistry. So I think every team should be looking at it. Those in particular going 0-3, 0-4. It's tough too, because if you look deeper into the wins and losses, you might go 1-3 because you lost, you went 4-3 in the matchup and you just lost by a couple points. So I think we just need more matches to kind of figure it out, but every team should be looking at trades and how they can improve the chemistry. So I'll buy.
Okay. Colorado Timber are the #1 team to beat.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell that because 1 or 2 reasons. 1, I haven't seen them play in a broadcast court yet, and 2, it doesn't necessarily, their record doesn't match what I thought they were going to be, and that's being very conceited, right? Not saying that whatever I say is going to go, but there is a team that does match that, and that's the Chicagoland Spinners. I thought they'd be really good, and they were really good. I just haven't seen them in a broadcast court yet. So I'm going to stick with the fact that I think that the Spinners are going to be your team to beat if you combine what perception of them was ahead of time and where they ended up. So I will sell the Timber. Really good team. Think they have a potential to be a really top team, maybe even win their region. But I don't know if they're going to necessarily be the team to beat over the Spinners.
Okay. Anthony?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to sell as well. Good points on the TV broadcast. Everybody has to get on there and win that one. And we saw what that did to a lot of players, some high-level players like a Hamilton, who just, the pressure was just so much. And you see these players kind of dive bomb. But yeah, someone even like the Carolina Coasters, their record's 3-2, but their games, they're 21-14. So I'm still looking, you know, the record might not show an undefeated record, but I think in the long haul, teams like that are going to still show up and do well. And they did well on the broadcast. So I'm going to sell.
Okay. Justin Burton Jr. will win singles and or doubles this weekend.
Man, it's tough. It's tough, right? Because half of Trey's brain is going, you're the guy that always says who's hot stays hot, right? That's what I just drill into people's heads. On the other hand, you're also the guy that says when that person gets that first win, you're the one to say, ooh, wait a second, calm down. It's one win. So I have these competing mindsets going back and forth in my head. Ultimately, in this field, I got to sell. Wouldn't surprise me if he finishes top 3 in both, right? That would be an incredible feat regardless. For him to be able to beat this, because this is kind of a pro stacked field right now. For him in the shootout to do both and show all of a sudden that he's an expert at this round limited format, when I just talked about him and Devin Harbaugh in a round limited format not getting it done, I'm going to push the brakes a little bit and say I'll sell it.
Anthony?
I got to sell as well. I mean, that exact reason. It's too deep. Plus, you got to go through Devin Harbaugh, and he's going to be throwing his bags this time. So you got to add that little bit in there. But yeah, I'm going to sell it. Doing that is amazing what he did, but do it back to back, that's tough. Bracket final, I'd buy it if he made a bracket final in both singles and doubles.
Okay. Mark Richards will make the finals in either doubles or singles.
This one is tough too because Richards has not shown to be the most elite player in the round limited format, but I'm actually going to buy it. I'm going out and I'm going to say I'm going to buy it because what he did was very consistent at the last event. And if you look, he only lost to Justin Burton Jr. Mark Richards was the only player to beat Justin Burton Jr. Yeah. The only one. And he killed him in that one game. Now, JBJ came back, got the win. Right now, I still think Mark Richards is the real deal. Philip Lopez is still dang good. I think they ultimately get into the final somewhere. I'll buy it.
Anthony?
I mean, I'm buying this one all day. You're not saying he has to win it. He has to make the finals in singles or doubles. Philip Lopez throwing out of his mind. I'm buying that one all day. It's Mark Richards, and he's got Philip Lopez on the other side.
I was shocked. I thought you were going to sell it.
I know. I knew you were going to say that too. So when you bought, I was like, we both bought that one.
All right. Got some hot takes?
I do. I'm going crazy.
Me too.
I'm going absolutely bananas.
Let's do it.
But I'm not going to say they're going to win. I'm saying they're going to make the finals.
Okay.
Finals of doubles at the shootout. Derek Holland and Berkeley pair. Make it. Okay. I really like what I saw out of Derek Holland. And I think Berkeley pair, the more momentum he gets and the more that Holland can give him, the tougher he's going to be. I'm going to take them to make the finals.
Okay. Like Anthony?
All right, I'm doing a combo. That's what makes it extra hot. Open singles winner, Cheyenne Bubenheim.
Ooh, I love that one. Yes.
Your shootout singles winner. It's a combo, so it makes it double hot. Your shootout singles winner, Nico Morellis.
Oh, so that was mine, but I was going to do a combo as well. So I was going to pick Nico for men's and Bella for singles. I mean,
Bella was going to be my women's pick, so I like that. We got all over the place. We're a little bit overlapped. I like that.
We kind of piggybacked off each other, but we made it happen. All right, that's all we got time for today. Enjoy all the cornhole this weekend in Kansas, and we'll see you guys next time.